Why, hello everybody. Welcome to March. Welcome to March. We don't have a lot of good information for the games on March 1st yet because it's still February 28th around 10 p.m. But we are going to talk all about March college basketball. So, this is I think they've basically just designated there's like February is Black History Month and then March is College Basketball Madness Month. I think it's pretty much the way that you'll see what happens. As soon as you can see just what happens tomorrow, all of a sudden it's going to be March Madness everywhere. The word is just owned by CBS and it's all over the place. So, well, what do I have for March Madness? I mean, I've got all these college basketball games that we set up to predict and win everything, but there's the big tournament that's going to happen. Selection Sunday is March 14th. Well, so we didn't have a tournament last year, 2020, obviously. Now in 2019, the last year I had this, I did some advancements to this just nuts thing I have. All right. So for over a decade, since I believe like 2000, yeah, it's around 2000, gosh, 10 or 11, I started doing the March Madness, maybe even 2009. Started doing the March Madness thing and doing the tournaments. Ken at KenBraverman.com. That's right. That's me. This this is a bracket in Google Sheet that you can kind of fill out. I set this thing up when the selections happen, and then you can choose things, and it tells you to choose things, and it tells you to choose it all along the way. And I will update the Google Sheet for everyone so that you can just send out this link. This is going to be totally free, this Google Sheet part. You don't have to subscribe to get any of the free bracket that you fill out if you want to just fill one out when I set this thing up on March 14th. Now, if you're running a tournament, however, the office pool, if anyone goes to the office anymore, I guess we all just do it by email in our virtual office. If you're doing the tournament, well, you got to have everybody fill out their brackets and then you grab all this information comes out in a cube of data. And I have all these different things for running simulations on the tournament and then also scoring the thing so that you can score this and put everyone's entries into here. And then when the games actually happen, all you do is just choose the winner. You look and say, oh, Duke won. You do that, and then all the standings end up updating. And I've done a lot of videos on that in the past. So this thing works great. Everybody loves this. I've been doing this for the same people for a decade plus. Now, what the AI entry is a new thing that was last year, and it's really fantastic from the perspective of sports betting and analyzing and predicting games in that sense. So what this thing does is it uses these percentages that I keep talking about in the algorithm, which is these percentages right here. This is basically our guide to figuring out what are relevant variables or relevant statistics for each team and how much we weight them in our equations and what the algorithm does. And this thing changes throughout the year because certain things matter more later in the year that didn't matter as much during the year. And you don't want to overweight things, especially with teams having distorted schedules and things this year. So this distribution, however, there are optimal distributions, and I'm going to be running some formulas to figure out what the optimal distribution will be for this year. However, I have an optimal distribution in there for the past, and it literally predicts the games of who's going to win without you having to fill it out. What do I mean by that? Watch this. So if you get rid of all the percentages, all right, you end up with this weird where you only get 23% of the games right, meaning all the games are picking themselves just based off of nothing. I don't even know what is being used, given that there's no variable anywhere. It's just picking. So it would only have gotten 23% of the games right based on what actually happened because we have the actual results in this thing. And it's just amazing what you can do with this because say, you were given a bracket and someone's like, fill this thing out. And you're like, I don't want to spend all the time clicking that, I don't want to do this forever. Going one by one, making sure I got it right. What you can do with this thing is you can just make different percentages based on different categories and you're done. Ready? Imagine all you cared about was win percentage. Boom. You would have got 55% of the games right back in 2019 if you'd done that. And only teams with better win percentages advance. But it's red means they actually lost in real life, in the real game. So you could do it with all the different percentages and get a completely different look. Right? See how cool this is? What if you care about offensive rating? 71%. Wow. Cool. What about defensive rating? 73%. Even better. it's so cool. It just fills the whole thing out automatically. And it's going to do that again in 2021. I'll set it up for that when it's going. So you get this. You get the scoring bracket if you're running a tournament. You get the daily subscription to this that gives you all the picks every day leading up to the tournament. And I'll obviously be doing this during the tournament to line up the games like this as well. So that's what the subscription is for $100 for March. You get a lot of stuff. So uh, I I figured I'd show you what's coming, and I mean I'm going to be in the middle of a lot of other things, but I always have always have time for this March Madness to be able to um, help everybody out, so you don't spend all your time manually one by one trying to score everybody's bracket one by one. That is the biggest waste of time ever, and this solves that problem for you. So let's talk about this, tie out this video with the end of today. Looks like it was a pretty good day. Where's my girl? Yeah, Tanya was right to say take Maryland. Our little cutout person, we talked briefly in the video. I didn't do an update because I was tied up all day, but um, we said take Maryland minus 2.5. They won. They crushed this. They ended up winning this game by 18. Good for them. And also Memphis away covered against Cincinnati. So those two were talked about. The losses came with Villanova and Quinnipiac, which this is way down here with an away team. So you could have stayed away from both these away teams. Although it's interesting to see Iowa, being a stronger team, pulling this game out at a very low margin. That's something to watch for with stronger teams. So pretty good day. This thing's gonna have good days, and gonna have good days and bad days. It's gonna have a lot of good days going down the road here. As we look at tomorrow, there really isn't much here yet because most of the lines aren't in yet. But whatever, we'll talk about it tomorrow. I'll be on the road, so we'll be rolling around the country, and probably trying to go to these games. We'll see what happens. All right, good luck, everybody. May all your picks be winning, and if you're interested in March, it will probably be a good $100 that you spend on this, especially if you're running your own bracket, because this thing and this thing especially, I'll start doing videos showing how to input everything and then add to the history of all these and do the standings and the pivot table. Everybody loves this. This is the product that everybody, I would say I had the most diverse group of people that use this all around the world. And I have had stories. People have told me that like George Clooney has filled one of these out for their tournament, stuff like that. I've gotten amazing stories about this thing as it's gotten around over the years. And it's just a fun thing. Like the tournament, the fact that there are 64 games and no one ever in the history of ever has ever gotten a perfect bracket. Never happened. The odds are so far against you being able to predict a perfect bracket that it's almost darn near impossible. It's basically as close to impossible as you can get with the numbers in anything that we ever do. So it'll be funny if one day I figure out how to write this thing so it actually predicts a perfect bracket. I'd love to be able to do that. I don't think it's reasonable, but we'll try it anyway. And all right, guys, good luck, everybody. May all your marches be madnessing.